And here we are at the legendary King's Tree. Well, legend has it, history has it, that King George VI planted this tree to commemorate the completion of the Derwent Valley water project and the end of the Second World War. But like most history, it's not quite right because this isn't the tree he planted. The winter was not pretty poor a couple of winters after he planted it, and the original sapling died, so they replanted this one. Got reinforcements with me this week. I've got Lesley and Steve.
Hi Phil. Lovely day for it.
Smashing, isn't it? It's going to be good though.
You're not lopsided. Yeah.
So the Derwent Valley water project began in about 1900, or the actual construction, with the Howden and the Derwent dams. They quite fantastic constructions and very innovative for the time to provide water to the industrial towns close by. They're basically just giant walls, like Game of Thrones kind of style. They wanted to get the water from Ladybower Quarry, but there was a huge campaign raged, which was unusual for the time, and even more unusual that the water board actually listened. So they got the stone from Bolt Hill Quarry and transported it over on a special train line. Now, almost as soon as it was completed, they realised we need a lot more than this. And so what they did, they thought, right, we'll build another dam further down. The Derwent River was quite a large source of water, and that was feeding the Derwent and the Howden dams. But they needed more water collecting. And they came across a problem because the geology further down the valley just isn't suitable for building another big wall across it. The water would leak around the sides of the wall, which would cause a leak, but also weaken the dam, and it would fail early. But by the time they built Ladybower, the technology had moved on, and they had new ways of building dams. What they did, instead of building up, they dug down. They dug a 180 foot deep trench along the length of where the dam is going to be, and they extended it 500 feet at either end, and in the bottom of that trench they drove piles 200 feet down, and then they lined that trench with puddle clay, 100,000 tonnes of puddle clay. Puddle clay is what they use in the bottom of canals and in ponds. And on top of that, they put 1 million tonnes of earth. Now, when you think about Derwent and Howden dams, you visualise that huge wall. You probably don't know where the dam is on Ladybower, and that's because it's that earth bank. What you do remember, of course, are those magnificent plug holes. Building Ladybower was quite controversial. It would involve displacing a couple of communities of Ashup and Derwent, which was very sad. But inevitable, they had to do it. It's probably unlikely that the people who lived there would have owned the properties. They would have rented them probably, and they would have just no rights at all, and they would have said, right, you're moving. Derwent Hall was quite a magnificent building, built in, I think, the 1600s. And at the same time as building Derwent Hall, they built a Packhorse bridge across the River Derwent. In the whole of the valley, really, there's only two places you could have crossed the River Derwent. It's quite a formidable river to cross. Had a good reputation of, in the morning, being a river, and in the afternoon being a raging torrent. And the place we're about to cross up here was where that raging torrent would have stopped you crossing, because it was a ford. There was a small Packhorse bridge here, but the most crossings were done by the ford, and that would have been impossible once the torrent hit up. So this Packhorse bridge was originally by Derwent Hall, and again the environmental pressure group got together and said, we want this preserving, we want this preserving. So they took it down stone by stone and numbered them and put it into storage, and then about 15 years later they rebuilt it here. Now this was the other crossing point on the River Derwent, and you can see even today that bit you can see under the arch there, it's probably where you would have crossed. Wouldn't have been easy, especially with pack horses and sheep and young children, possibly, maybe, who knows. Yeah, so in 1945, when they completed the project of the Derwent Valley Water Project, they reconstructed it here, and it's as you see it now. So originally built in 1672 at the same time as Derwent Hall. And you can see, just like the Edale Head Packhorse bridge, it's quite narrow and it has very low sides, so that the mules, the packhorses, can go across and their loads won't bang on the sides. And because it's a bit longer, it's got these passing spots here where people can come and stand in this little bit. Steve and Lesley have been waiting 20 minutes here for me. Oh, thank you, sir.
Where Lesley come here to come get me on the car here. So we'll come get that way, come get that way.
What's this way over there?
That way leads us to the Trig Dance.
The leak. That's the wind's not blowing very much, but the wind chill is supposed to be down to sort of -5s, potential of a bit more according to the forecast. Now I know it's a complicated thing, but it feels well sub-zero. Glad I've got my layers on now. Anyway, we're almost at Margery Hill Trig Point. So I was asking Steve, what's this fence? Mysterious fence here. And there's obviously some Christmas trees inside it, not protecting those. But seriously, if you look, this goes on the OS maps back quite a long time. If you look, there's this strange feature here. Well, I reckon if you look in front of us there, that's a burial mound. I know there is one up here that's a scheduled monument, and that would make sense to stop people going on it. And the Trig Point is just over there, hidden somewhere. Yay!
It's just made it to the Trig Point from there.
Yay! Don't know if you can see in the mist just over there, that is.
I camped on the edge instead, and it was great actually.
That is Margery Stones just over there. So that's Margery Hill Trig Point, and we're just heading over to Margery Stones, where we're going to fight for the best pitch. Got it pitched, got the pegs are in at a bit shallow in places, but can't be helped. And I'm not happy about this bit, but that'll be alright. Guys are nice and tight, pretty solid. By that wind's biting. Let's get in. I realised last week on my bottle that was on my bag, I always try to leave at least sort of half, 3/4 of it in when I get to camp. I put my isotonic tablet in it and then drink that to stop me having cramps. What I've done today, I brought this little flask, which don't weigh much more. I've used these before, and I've filled it with boiling water when I left the house. It's still quite warm now. I put my isotonic tablet on it, and of course it's a faster chemical reaction when you put it in, so it all fizzed up. But I've got a warm drink now. Oh, warm isotonic, that's a funny flavour. Anyway, so I'm just looking at this carbon monoxide sensor here. And as you can see from that, it's registering 0. And that's right next to the stove. Here we are, look, 10, 12, 13, 14. So it is registering some. Tonight's coffee is courtesy of Hengist Wildcamper. They've just given us these Irish coffee 3-in-1 jobs. So when I boil this water, I shall be sampling the wares. Thanks, Steve. I was going to sort of say this monitor's not worth using, but so that's the reading it's currently on, and that is my alcohol stove.
Yeah.
So they're sort of honeyed cashew nuts.
Like many years.
Well, that's interesting, Steve. It went up to 45 parts per million and it's on about 20 now. Never expected that.
Is that good or bad?
So it's still green. It goes yellow when it gets to 50. The alarm goes off when it gets to 100.
Honestly, Dad, I've got a complex. You're triggering me. I'm getting offended.
I think, you know.
Well, that was interesting. So my alcohol fuel stove managed to get this going up to 45. Now I'm not in an enclosed space because I've got the edge of the fly sheet's quite high up and it is windy. Of course, if it wasn't windy, I'd have the door open. So sensible precautions. However, if this was a hot tent, that's different. If I was using a gas stove that wasn't a particularly efficient one, that's a different matter. And also, if I had the actual stove inside the tent, which I've seen some people do, that's a different matter. This would give me an alarm and warn me. However, I'm confident now that my practice is safe, so I'll not be bringing this up again. But if you have any doubts, investigate. You know, it's like the old 1980s thing, and don't die of ignorance. Work out the facts. But for me, it's not been worth bringing it.
And then my son, when he was
Probably be like that with heterosexual people.
Morning. I'm a bit croaky. It is 6:30. Not actually dawn yet, but it is getting lighter outside. It's been freezing rain from about 3ish, and I think it started snowing about then. So let's have a look what we've got outside. So you'll have seen that before me. Yeah, quite a lot out there. So I'm going to boil some water, get a drink. Steve's still storing away, so we're not going to do anything until he's ready to go. Good fun.
No, I think.
It's supposed to be turning to rain about 9 o'clock, but it was late according to the forecast, so that might be later on. And good morning, that was a really good night's sleep. I put some of those chemical hand warmers into my socks. But the key is not to put them right down to where your feet are. To put them around your ankles, because the blood flows close to the surface of your skin near the ankles, gets warmed up by the chemical warmer, and then warms your feet. And it seemed to work, so it's good. I also swapped my socks, so I took my Indian socks off from my seal skins, put a clean pair of socks on, because there's some residual moisture in your socks from your feet perspiring, even if they did get soaked. And your body will be fighting that all night, so a clean, dry pair of socks. My cold is very croaky today. My voice was, in fact, my voice stopped earlier, I couldn't speak. Just said to Lesley and Steve, I'm not yelling across to you, because I don't want to. I think maybe that was it last night, the tent talk, between the three of us. I'm just taking it easy with that. We said we're aiming for 9 o'clock. It's 8:13 now, so I'm just packing down slowly. I put my all my sleep stuff into a compression sack and compressed it as much as I possibly can, and that's been a big help. I'm going to roll and lightly fold my sleep pad. Or I might have time to do it properly. I might do it properly. The foil mat is probably going to go on top of my bag. Just the usual thing. I'm just going through things one at a time, putting them into a pile. When they're finished, processing that package. So that's my personal maintenance kit, toothpaste, medicine, first aid, and all that kind of stuff. I've put my table away into there. I've got my flat stuff ready for the back of the bag. Got all my stove put in there. I'm just going to put that in its mesh cover. I've done the thing about remembering to take my light down and the temperature sensor from outside, which was absolutely caked in ice. That freezing rain has come down, and I'm hoping that, the conditions will be bad outside, slippery wise. About -2 outside. All good. That's an Optimus Nomad size. That's a Burn 1 size, Burn 1.5 size. And that's a Sulu size. great. I will film a bit going back down, but I'm not going to film too much. I'll sum up when I get to Slippery Stones Bridge.
I put them right back where they were.
And here we are, back at Slippery Stones Packhorse Bridge. What a great camp. Best camp ever, of course. Really enjoyed that. Fun. Equipment all performed itself. Lethal coming down there, slippery as I don't know what. Being very, very careful, and I'll not say how many times we slipped because it'll jinx it for the trip back to the van, but yeah. So I'll sign off now. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. And I shall see you next week. Gonna go and try and find my cap now.